Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 University of Rhode Island Kramer Sabres Battalion Army ROTC commissioning ceremony. I am Major Pedro Fernandez, Operations Officer and Assistant Professor of Military Science for the Kramer Sabres Battalion. At this time, please rise if you are able for the playing of the national anthem. Please be seated. I would like to recognize our distinguished guests with us here today. The Honorable Patrick Murphy, University of Rhode Island President, Dr. Mark B. Parlange, the University of Rhode Island Dean of College of Arts and Science, Dr. Jen Riley, Salve Regina University Associate Vice President and Dean of Students, Dr. Tracy Cameron, Colonel Retired John Petrella, Colonel Retired Bill Babcock, Colonel Retired Tom Heaney, Lieutenant Colonel Retired Tori Peterson, Lieutenant Colonel Retired Dave Aceta, and Miss Jane Stitch. At this point, I would like to now welcome and invite the University of Rhode Island President, Dr. Mark B. Parlange, to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see you here. As Dean Riley and I were just discussing, this is always for us a special day of the year, so good to see all of you. I'm really happy to be with our outstanding cadets from the University of Rhode Island, Roger Williams University, and Salve Regina University, classes of 2025. As is tradition, we will begin with the university's land acknowledgement. The University of Rhode Island occupies the traditional stomping ground of the Narragansett Nation and the Niantic people. We honor and respect the enduring and continuing relationship between the indigenous people and this land by teaching and learning more about their history and present-day communities, and by becoming stewards of the land we too inhabit. So again, I would like to begin by thanking the Army ROTC team for inviting me and for all that you do and the service to our students. They are amazing students, wonderful people, and it's a thrill to be here. I'd like to thank today's guest speaker, the Honorable Patrick Murphy, for joining us. Mr. Murphy served as Undersecretary of the Army and Chief Management Officer after his appointment by President Obama in 2016. As Acting Secretary of the Army, Secretary Murphy played a vital role in meeting the Army's recruiting goals for the first time in 5 years, successfully recruiting 120,000 soldiers. His tenure was marked by initiatives focused on business innovation, modernizing Army operations, expanding the Soldier for Life program, fostering public-private partnerships, and using social media to enhance the Army's public image. A third-generation veteran, Mr. Murphy was commissioned as a second lieutenant after completing the Army ROTC program at the University of Scranton and later served in the U.S. Army Judge Advocate General's Corps. He completed 2 overseas deployments in Bosnia and Iraq, and he led the brigade operational law team, earning a Bronze Star for overseeing the justice system for 1.5 Iraqis in south central Baghdad. Prior to his appointment as Undersecretary, Mr. Murphy was a litigation partner and general counsel for small businesses at a national law firm. He also served as special assistant for the Southern District of New York and made history as the first Iraq War veteran elected to Congress, representing Pennsylvania's 8th District from 2007 to 2011. In Congress, he was instrumental in passing significant legislation, including the 21st Century GI Bill, the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and the Hire Our Heroes legislation. He also played a pivotal role in establishing the Washington Crossing National Veterans Cemetery. Currently, Secretary Murphy is a senior advisor to tech companies and serves on the U.S. Cyberspace Solarium Commission 2.0. He chairs the National Task Force for Cyber Plus Movement, which connects military families and service members to in-demand jobs in trucking and cybersecurity. Additionally, he's a general partner at the Stony Lonesome Group, a venture capital firm that has invested tens of millions of dollars into more than 60 veteran-owned businesses in healthcare, cybersecurity, and AI. He's also a professor at the University of Pennsylvania at the Wharton School. So I'm so honored to have Mr. Murphy here as part of today's ceremony. This weekend, students became graduates, and it was good to see you crossing the stage and part of the thriving alumni communities of their universities. Today, we commissioned them from cadets to second lieutenants, and your commissioning today is a recognition of your remarkable achievements, leadership, and a significant milestone on your journey in the military and in your communities. You are being commissioned into the United States Army, the Reserves, and the National Guard, and your service will be further testament to your courage, selflessness, and love for your country. And I know that you will continue to uphold the values instilled in you through the ROTC program, carrying with you the principles of leadership, discipline, integrity, teamwork, adaptability, and finally, service. Through ROTC, you have learned about the importance of serving our country, and I know that when you leave here, you will continue to contribute positively to your communities and the world. I know your futures are very bright, and I can't wait to see where your journeys take you. I've seen you all at 5:30 a.m. every day, every week, rain or shine. If it ain't raining, it ain't training. So on behalf of the entire URI community, I extend my deepest gratitude for your service. Congratulations on your commissioning. I know that you will continue to inspire others, and we're so proud of you. Congratulations.
The Reserve Officer Training Corps, or ROTC, is a program that prepares young adults to become officers in the U.S. military. Cadets strive to not only uphold, but to exceed rigorous standards of discipline and duty. Prior to commissioning as officers, it is necessary to internalize the Cadet Creed. Cadet Nathan Hazard, please come forward and state the Cadet Creed.
The Cadet Creed. I am an Army cadet. Soon I will take an oath and become an Army officer, committed to defending the values that make this nation great. Honor is my touchstone. I understand mission first and people always. I am the past, spirit of those warriors who made the final sacrifice. I am the present, scholar and apprentice soldier, enhancing my skills, science of warfare, the art of leadership. But above all, I am the future warrior leader of the United States Army. May God give me the compassion and judgment to lead, the gallantry and battle to win. I will do my duty.
At this time, I would like to introduce the Professor of Military Science for the Kramer Sabre Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Tad Granai.
Hi, everybody. President Parlage, the Honorable Patrick Murphy, Dean Jen Riley, I wish you the best of luck as you move on to New Hampshire in the next few weeks. Colonel John Petrella, Colonel Retired Bill Babcock, all the members of the alumni that are here, hello. To Salve and Roger Williams that are here as well. Distinguished guests, cadets, very soon to be second lieutenants, cadre members, friends, and family of those about to commission. Welcome from the entire Kramer Sabres Battalion, which includes the University of Rhode Island, Salve Regina University, and Roger Williams University, as we celebrate the tremendous achievements of these fine young cadets as they take their final and critical step on the road to commissioning as United States Army officers. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Tad Granai. For the past 5 years, I've had the distinct honor of serving as the Professor of Military Science at the University of Rhode Island, my alma mater, and the head of the Army ROTC Kramer Sabres Battalion. On behalf of Colonel Alan Kehoe, Command Sergeant Major Jordan Lee, and the entire U.S. Army Cadet Command team, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you all. Before going any further, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the families in the audience and thank you all for the support you have provided to your loved one. It is safe to say that without it, they would never have become the leader that they are today. To them. Today is not about me or the cadre. To the contrary, it is all about you soon-to-be second lieutenants and your amazing families, as you join a brotherhood of men and women who are and have been revered throughout history, respected around the world, and feared by our nation's enemies. You are now joining the ranks of the finest warriors this world has ever seen. You join a society of heroes whose valor and patriotism are forever memorialized in our hearts. It was through their sacrifice that America stands today as the symbol of freedom and a beacon of hope for those who only know tyranny and suppression. On a more personal note, this particular class will always have a special place in my heart, being that I was lucky enough to be in my current position for 5 years, when most officers serving in this role are around for no more than 3. I have known many of these cadets since they were actually seniors in high school, and almost all since they were at least freshmen at their respective universities. To be able to watch their development from where they were to where they are today fills me with pride and joy, while providing me with the utmost confidence in our nation's future. And frankly, this particular group is arguably the most talented commissioning class that has come across this stage in the past 5 years. With that said, cadets, just remember that there are millions of talented individuals that never meet their true potential. Work hard, give credits to your subordinates, and take responsibility for theirs and your mistakes. Always remain humble, and everything will work out just fine. After all that, enjoy yourselves. These are the days you will remember for the rest of your life. Whether you know it or not, you are actually in the early stages of your what's known as the good old days. Embrace it. There is not a senior officer around who isn't envious of the journey you have ahead of you. And finally, before I introduce today's guest speaker, soon to be second lieutenants, always remember to let your natural humility remind you of the rare honor, privilege, and responsibility you are bestowed as being a U.S. Army officer. There is none greater. Congratulations. At this time, I would like to bring up the Honorable Patrick Murphy.
Thanks, Colonel. Appreciate it. You could see in his voice and his eye contact that the pride of his alma mater here at the University of Rhode Island. I was a 1996 ROTC graduate myself, and one of the other cadets in my platoon in summer training was a graduate from the University of Rhode Island. He's one of our best cadets. He also, though, was the mascot here at URI. He was the, and his name is Pete Vanderville. I tried to look him up on LinkedIn. We've lost touch over the years. I couldn't get a hold of him, but if anyone knows Pete Vanderville, tell him Patrick Murphy said hello. You know, Colonel, you and your team have done a phenomenal job at sharpening the leadership and discipline of these young men and women that are going to lead our Army. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to you and to all the cadre that have done such a phenomenal job. I think we owe them a round of applause as well, if we give them one. And, you know, I think one of the quotes he talked about talent, one of my favorite movies is called A Bronx Tale. It had Robert De Niro in it, if you ever saw Bronx Tale. And one of the great quotes from that movie is, "There's nothing worse in the world than wasted talent." And when you look at the history of the University of Rhode Island, whether it's Roger Morris or Salve, you know, ROTC as a land-grant university used to be mandatory for all freshmen and sophomores. And of the 1,000 that graduated yesterday, there's only 15 that are on this stage today that worked year after year after year. That although they were full-time students, they were scholar athletes because they were also doing ROTC, as the president so eloquently said, at 0500, oh dark 30. And as the president mentioned, Mark, you did a great job. If it ain't raining, we ain't training. It builds character, right? Because it's easy to call out. It's easy to say you have a sore back. It's easy to say you have a final or you had a late night. But when you have to be there in front of your fellow men and women, you have to show up. And 90% of success is showing up. And Mr. President, you did that for these cadets and for this institution. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for leading from the front. So thank you, Mark. Dean Riley, I know you're going on to go to be the provost, University of New Hampshire. We're going to miss you here, but thank you for your leadership. We know how active you've been, obviously, at this fine institution. And I do want to say, Dr. Kasim Yam, I think you're in the back. Thank you for your leadership at the Office of Veterans Affairs for the state of Rhode Island. I appreciate you. I know I was talking to my fellow 82nd Airborne paratrooper colleague, Senator Jack Reed, who's been a mentor of mine. He's really proud of the work that you and the team have done here. So thank you for your continued leadership to our great nation. I just want to say from the get-go, and I said it to him briefly when I talked to all of you, you all are very stoic. No one's really smiling, and that's okay. I don't know if that was an order given to you. It's okay to enjoy this commissioning ceremony. We're not going to revoke it back. There's 15 on the stage. There are 2, though, that are going to get commissioned this summer as well. So there's really 17 once they get through the commissioning. But I want to say 3 things to you all today. And I know you're never going to remember that your commissioning speaker was Patrick Murphy. But if you could maybe live these 3 things. 1, continue to have an attitude of gratitude. As the Colonel said, you are blessed to be part of the greatest fighting force that ever walked the face of the earth. And for those who are not in the Army or don't come from a military family, just so you know, our Army is 1 million soldiers, about 300,000 civilians. But of those 1 million soldiers, only 12% are officers, 88% are enlisted. And when they take that oath, they are getting a special trust and confidence from the President of the United States that they will lead America's greatest treasure, the sons and daughters of our fellow Americans. And that is the charge given to each and every single one of you. And of the high school seniors, there's about 4 million high school seniors a year. Of those, 50,000 will try and become Army officers. They'll apply the process through different, some will want to try to go to West Point. We graduate 1,000 from West Point every year. Some will be graduates of college and will go through what's called OCS, Officer Candidate School, about 900 a year. But our largest commissioning source of the 3 is ROTC. You have to give 3 or 4 years as a full-time student to earn the rank of second lieutenant, to be a commissioned officer, taking military leadership classes, going to summer training, doing physical training, learning about tactics and strategy and leadership, living our 7 Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, honor, integrity, personal courage, and selfless sacrifice. You have lived it. And you've lived it when it's not easy being a full-time college student, taking your classes, showing up PT when it's raining outside or when it's cold. But you've done it and you've done very well. And I think you've hopefully have seen when you live a purpose-driven life, which all of you have chosen to do. When you live a purpose-driven life, it's amazing. It's like a life force of what you can accomplish. It's hard for me to believe this, but 20 years ago, I was a professor at West Point. I was there when I was a young Army captain as a constitutional law professor. When I was there, I got to be friendly with one of my students. He was the first captain at West Point. And he asked me one day who my favorite author was. I used to write a newspaper column called Murphy's Law. I write on Substack now, et cetera. And it was Joseph Rudyard Kipling. And he's a phenomenal, written several books, poems. He wrote this poem called If, and I like to read it to you now. By the way, Mr. Kipling lost his son in World War I. And I would say to all of you, hopefully you can remember this a little bit. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. I give that poem, and I talk about that poem, whether I'm here today or to my students at the Wharton Business School, because to me, it talks about making sure that you have class. That even if you're amongst kings, of presidents, of great leaders, you don't lose that common touch. That you understand that there's going to be young men and women that look at you and your example, and whether or not they're going to be inspired by your leadership. The second thing I would like to say is success is not linear. Meaning it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be cut and dry. You will have setbacks no matter how hard you work. But as long as you take those setbacks as leadership lessons, that you have that growth mentality, that you learn and you harness that and you get better and you say to yourself, wow, these are the metrics I'm getting graded by. You will be graded, as you know, with your physical training standards. You will be graded whether or not you do the job. You'll be graded whether you live the 7 Army values. But if you learn and harness that and get better, at least 1% better every single day, you'll be destined to do great things. I will tell you that when I was where you were, I was a college hockey player that earned my commission through ROTC, and I was at a small Catholic college. It's called King's College. It's in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. There was only 4 of us in our commissioning class. I was about 145 pounds. I had pretty bad acne at the time, and I was a college hockey player, but I wanted to follow my uncle's footsteps. He was a Vietnam veteran, and he was a airborne paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne Division. And when I was a cadet, I would try to go to airborne school. I didn't get it. Tried to go to air assault school. Didn't get it. When I was second lieutenant, tried. First lieutenant, tried. And when I finally was going to the JAG school, at that point, the Army Company used to go to law school. I went back in. There was 88 classmates, and there was only 10 slots for airborne school. And so I tried out. I had like a 3:30 PT square. I was doing a 2-mile in about 11 something, and doing a lot of push-ups and a lot of sit-ups, et cetera. And I say that to all of you because I was one of the top 10, and I broke my hand 2 weeks before graduation. I was in a soft cast, didn't miss a PT session, and my boss said, "Murphy, I can't send you. You have a broken hand." I said, "I haven't missed a session yet. It's fine. It's a soft cast. It's going to be still jump out of airplanes. It's fine. I can't do it." And I appealed her decision to her boss, and I was able to go. I say that because the Army is beautiful, it's full of people, it's a great organization, but can be bureaucracy. And sometimes you have to know not to take no for an answer. I went to her boss and I went to the colonel and I said to her, ma'am, I trained, I earned this spot, you can't take it away from me, I'm good to go. And I went down, I did 90 push-ups right in front of her. Showed her, I said, my hand's fine, it's not gonna get her any better. And, I wound up going, getting a slot, they let me leave early, missed graduation, drove through the night with another colleague in my car, and he was in his car. I'm driving down to Fort Benning, Georgia. My engine blows out. Now, I'll tell you, when I say success is not linear, luckily I was driving with my friend. I hopped in his car. I picked up my it was like a Toyota Camry or something. I picked that up a few weeks after airborne school. But I say that because the reality of it is, you're going to have setbacks. Some of you are making, some not. But if you learn from them and just stick to it and show that grit, that mentality of getting the job done, you'll do great things. You also will not know where you'll go. When I was sitting in your stands, in your seats, I had no idea that I would go within years to go teach at West Point. That was an awesome responsibility, but I was there when 9/11 happened. And then I deployed right away to help stop the worst ethnic cleansing in Europe. They were killing Muslims on the side of the road in towns like Srebrenica in Bosnia, just because they were Muslim. And it stopped because the President of Congress sent our men and women into harm's way. Is there any Vietnam veterans in the audience by chance? Any Vietnam? Sir? I mentioned Vietnam veterans. I'm named after a Vietnam veteran. His name was Patrick Ward. He gave the ultimate sacrifice in Vietnam. He was saving his brothers over there and earned a Silver Star. And it was my mom's best friend growing up. And I say that because I didn't know, sitting in those seats, that I would go to Bosnia to stop the worst ethnic cleansing. I didn't know that I'd be part of the invasion force in Iraq and be in Baghdad and lose 19 of my brothers and sisters. I mentioned when I was there, when I signed on for the Army ROTC, I said I want to be an airborne ranger with the 82nd Airborne Division. It took me 10 years, from age 19 to age 29, to get to the 82nd Airborne Division. And I was there for 3 weeks and was in Baghdad right away. I say that because what I think most of Americans don't know, but we learned it in Vietnam, is that these young men and women who serve our country, which is less than 1% of America, they don't choose what fights they get into. They're just expected to win for America, to keep our families safe. And a lesson that we learned in Vietnam is that at that time, our country didn't separate the war from the warrior. And whether you're for Vietnam or against it, doesn't matter. A lot of those men and women were drafted. A lot of those men and women volunteered to serve, and they served honorably. When they came home, they weren't necessarily treated the right way. But sir, it's your generation of Vietnam veterans that could have sat in your hands and just stayed home. But you were the first ones, when my generation of Iraq, Afghanistan veterans came home and said, welcome home, brother, and welcome home, sister. So I want to thank you and the Vietnam generation for your service. Thank you. So when you have that growth mentality, when you have that grit, when you learn from losses and you turn them into lessons, it shows you that as leaders, you were expected to be problem solvers. The reason why we've invested so much in each and one of you and you've answered that call is because we expect great things. And part of that is solving problems. And that's what you'll be asked to do. You don't know exactly what problems, but it is the fundamental burden of leadership. And that is, what is leadership? You inspiring others to do something they otherwise wouldn't do. Whether showing up for PT in the morning when you may be hungover or not, showing up for information, answering, and having tough conversations with maybe people who aren't making a mark. But what we ask of these young men and women, and it's pretty righteous, I hope you all notice in the audience, but when they take that oath, to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. They're taking an oath to our Constitution, the blueprint of our country. The one that shows in Articles 1, 2, and 3, we have a legislative branch, executive branch, judicial branch. It's like rocks, paper, scissors. One's not more powerful than the other. It gets messy because it's democracy. We see it. But the fact is they're joining a team that is apolitical, that is focused on the mission at hand, to fight and win our nation's wars, to be leaders of character, to have a purpose-driven life. Ladies and gentlemen, our military is apolitical at its core. Colonel, I'm not sure what you and the cadre did, but when I signed up at 1819, they told me, we advise you to register, if you're going to register to vote, register as independent or unaffiliated, because we are not a partisan organization and we should never be. And that's what doesn't mean you can't vote, doesn't mean you can't be part of the process, but even by law, it's called the Hatch Act, you cannot do too much political activity when you're in uniform, or any political activity when you're in uniform, or even in your free time. But I say that because you are entering a profession that, frankly, is life and death for many that you will serve with. That a profession that we need leaders of character that will show moral courage when it's not easy to show it. And that is a rare trait that we need. And I would suggest and challenge everyone out there, and I don't think anyone in this room feels this way, but I do read articles and read the newspapers and et cetera all the time. And I hear people who put down Generation Z, younger generation. But I will tell you, they answer their call time and time again. In fact, we studied this. We did a study, Department of Defense study, that I said something nice about the Vietnam generation. We'll say something still nice, but not as nice. If you ask the Vietnam generation when they were their age, it's the same survey we used in the Department of Defense. How many of you would like to serve your community or country? 56% of Americans said they would serve. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the military, but et cetera. 56% of the Vietnam generation, which is a great generation, so 56 is a good number. It's not passing, but it's still a good number. You ask Gen Z, 70% of Gen Z Americans want to serve their community or their country. Now, it's easy to say you want to serve it. It's pretty hard when you have to wake up at dark 30 every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes more. It's not easy when you have other tests going on and exams, and you still have to study, you still got the papers done, you still be ready to go. But these 15 commissionees and the 2 that will be commissioned this summer have answered the call during a defining moment in our nation's history. I am so proud to be here. I'm so proud to be in your ranks, and I'm so inspired to know each and every one of you. And I will be praying for you and pulling for you, and if I could ever be helpful to you or your soldiers, please don't hesitate to reach out. God bless you, God bless our Army, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
At this time, Cadet Bleakley, the Cadet Battalion Commander, will present the Honorable Patrick Murphy with a gift on behalf of the Kramer Sabres Battalion. Will the cadets to be commissioned please stand? Our cadets are now ready to join the Army Officer Corps. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise if you are able for the reading of the commissioning order.
Attention to orders. By the order of the President of the United States, to all who shall see these officer candidates before you, having successfully fulfilled the requirements prescribed for the United States Army Reserve Officers Training Corps, are, upon execution of their oath of office, appointed commissioned officers in the United States Army, effective 19 May 2025. Signed, the Honorable Daniel Driscoll, Secretary of the Army.
Please be seated. We will now pin the cadets' second lieutenant rank to their uniforms. Friends and family are welcome to come forward and take pictures. Second Lieutenant Layla Alvarez, Branch Quartermaster into the California National Guard. Her gold bars will be pinned by her father, Edward Alvarez, and her mother, Jocelyn Alvarez. Second Lieutenant Truman Bleakley, Branch Infantry into active duty. His gold bars will be pinned by his father, Robert Bleakley, and his mother, Morgan Bleakley. Second Lieutenant Joseph Cartier, Branch Military Intelligence, Detailed Infantry, into active duty. His gold bars will be pinned by his mother, Cynthia Cartier, and his father, Richard Cartier. Second Lieutenant Garrett DeForest, Branch Military Intelligence, Detailed Infantry, into active duty. His gold bars will be pinned by his mother, Kelly DeForest, and his father, Chip DeForest. Second Lieutenant Tiago Wynn, branch signal into active duty. His gold bars will be pinned by his mother, Anna Wynn, and his father, Kit Wynn. Second Lieutenant Carissa Johnson, branched field artillery into active duty. Her gold bars will be pinned by her mother, Tammy Johnson, and her father, Stephen Johnson. Second Lieutenant Matthew Kirchenman, branch signal into active duty. His gold bars will be pinned by his father, Jeff Kirchenman, and his mother, Cindy Kirchenman. Second Lieutenant Simile Lantigua, branch transportation into the Rhode Island National Guard. Her gold bars will be pinned by her brother, Jaden Lantigua, and her cousin, Ashley De La Roca. Second Lieutenant Thomas McMullen, branch field artillery into the New York National Guard. His gold bars will be pinned by his father, John McMullen, and his mother, Jennifer McMullen. Second Lieutenant Samuel Nenzi, Branch Field Artillery into the Massachusetts National Guard. His gold bars will be pinned by his father, Richard Nenzi, and his mother, Kathy Larkin. Second Lieutenant Liam Reynolds, Branch Aviation into active duty. His gold bars will be pinned by his father, Jeff Reynolds, and his mother, Sarah Reynolds. Second Lieutenant Dominic Tramontano, Branch Infantry into active duty. His gold bars will be pinned by his brother, Richard Blue, and his mother, Magdilia Tramontano. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the oath of office. Lieutenant Colonel Grenai will now administer the oath of office.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States, in the grade of second lieutenant, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the newest second lieutenants of the United States Army. Please give them a round of applause. Friends and family are welcome to come forward and take pictures. Please be seated. Now is the time for these new officers to conduct their first salute. By custom and tradition in the Army, the newly commissioned second lieutenant will present a silver dollar to the first NCO who renders them a ceremonial first salute. The silver dollar commemorates the occasion and seals the critical bond of trust and mutual respect that exists between the NCO and officer corps. As we call your name, please come forward to center stage to receive your first salute as a newly commissioned second lieutenant. If you are rendering the first salute, please come forward to the stage as you hear the newly commissioned second lieutenant's name called. Second Lieutenant Alvarez. Second Lieutenant Alvarez will now exchange her first salute with Sergeant First Class Jeffrey Holomuski. Second Lieutenant Bleakley. Second Lieutenant Bleakley will now exchange his first salute with Sergeant First Class Jeffrey Holomuski. Second Lieutenant Cartier. Second Lieutenant Cartier will now exchange his first salute with Sergeant First Class Jeffrey Holomuski. Second Lieutenant DeForest. Second Lieutenant DeForest will now exchange his first salute with Sergeant First Class Jeffrey Holomuski. Second Lieutenant Wynn. Second Lieutenant Wynn will now exchange his first salute with Corporal Ty Wynn. Second Lieutenant Johnson. Second Lieutenant Johnson will now exchange her first salute with Sergeant First Class Jeffrey Holomuski. Second Lieutenant Kirchenman. Second Lieutenant Kirchenman will now exchange his first salute with Sergeant First Class Jeffrey Holomuski. Second Lieutenant Lantigua. Second Lieutenant Lantigua will now exchange her first salute with First Sergeant Alan Pena. Second Lieutenant McMullen. Second Lieutenant McMullen will now exchange his first salute with Specialist Jerome Carreri. Second Lieutenant Nenzi. Second Lieutenant Nenzi will now exchange his first salute with Sergeant First Class, retired Stephen Larkin. Second Lieutenant Reynolds. Second Lieutenant Reynolds will now exchange his first salute with Lance Corporal Jeff Reynolds. Second Lieutenant Tramontano. Second Lieutenant Tramontano will now exchange his first salute with Corporal Joe Petrozzi. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join for the singing of the Army Song. The lyrics of the song can be found on the back page of the program.
Kramer Center Battalion, class 2025. Dismissed. Senators! Cool.
This concludes our ceremony. Enjoy the rest of your day and best of luck to all the newly commissioned second lieutenants. Families, at this time, if you wish to come on stage to take pictures, you are more than welcome.